Today, we will be reviewing the Gold GPU Expert Advisor by Mr. Maxim Dmitriev. Stick around to the end to receive a free expert advisor by us at Prosperity Algo Solutions. And while you're here, I invite you to subscribe to our channel to never miss one of these videos. So, we can kick off here on the sales page and see a little bit more about the Gold GPU EA. The seller is stating that it is a trend-following expert advisor using artificial intelligence, and it has been tested for 10 years on tick data. And as the name would suggest, this expert advisor trades gold exclusively on the H1 timeframe. And it's also mentioning that it uses both a take profit and a stop loss in order to ensure that trades are protected. But what I found quite interesting is usually trades close by opposite signal. That might indicate the presence of more of a stop and reverse strategy, which is really cool because it isn't something you see nearly as often with Forex expert advisors. And here we're seeing the equity curve and a few backtest results. And something that's really good to see is that the equity curve is not perfect. There is a little bit of wobbliness in it, which typically indicates that there might be a real strategy behind the EA. So looking pretty solid. The comments and the reviews also appear to be quite good, but you never necessarily know how valid those are. And the one concern here is that there's no live signal. So to date, this has been published around a month ago. The reviews seem positive. However, we have not seen a live signal to confirm it. But we can still go to MT5, run a quick back test just to see what the strategy is doing and how the EA might be performing. So here I took the liberty of downloading the expert advisor from the MT5 marketplace, and we have it here open. And something which I usually like to do is go through the inputs tab, as it can give a pretty decent indication of how the EA works. So here we can see they have both a spread and a slippage filter, which makes sense, indicating that this might be a spread sensitive strategy, perhaps a scalper. And this is indicating the use of a trailing stop loss. So yes, very common in gold scalping systems. And one thing it says here is that there's a 1-to-10 take profit stop loss ratio, which is fine, but if it uses a tight trailing stop loss, it will change that. But 1-to-10 risk rewards are also just super uncommon in trading anyway, so it may be more for marketing. One thing also to note is I'm not seeing any usage of actual artificial intelligence here. He put the buzzword artificial intelligence, but there's no model file, there's no API request, so it's probably, I would think, being done more for marketing purposes as well, but that doesn't mean it's not a very good strategy. Ultimately, to date, artificial intelligence in Forex EAs is often used as like a filter on top, or almost the cherry on top of a strategy. It's by no means required to have a good expert advisor, but just something else to keep in mind. Here we can see as well they have some good time filters, so both time filters specific for every day of the week. Okay, this is quite interesting. Start time hour for trading on Monday, end time on Monday. Yeah, this is not amazing to see because they're able to perhaps over-optimize this. You have to be really, really careful with time filters because yes, a time filter in general can make sense if you're trying to just perhaps get rid of the low volatility hours. But if you have a different one for every day, which he's not doing here to his credit, most of them are just 9 to 21 o'clock, so it doesn't appear to be overly over-optimized. However, being able to tweak them day by day is usually not a good sign because it introduces too many parameters in your expert advisor. And let's say if this were to be like on Tuesday and Monday and Wednesday, the hours would be completely different. That would probably indicate some degree of over-optimization. That being said, he's not doing that there, so there's only one day which is different, which I wouldn't think is too significant enough to actually massively change the results that we're seeing. Just something else to be mindful of. And then here, advanced tweaks below leaves default, and there's another indication of if there's AI involved. And he's also saying that you can only have one short and long open at a time, which could also be quite an interesting part of the strategy and could reduce the overall risk. So yeah, it doesn't give a ton of indication as to how the strategy works. We simply see that there is going to be a trailing stop loss. Therefore, there's likely some degree of scalpingness, and there's a few filters for time and for spreads, but we really will have to run a visual backtest to see how it works in detail. So let me quickly pause the video, run a backtest so we can get an idea of what the results will look like. Okay, so we are now back with the results of the backtest. And as you can see, we have a very nice equity curve in front of us, but it's also not perfect, which is quite neat to see. And maybe more helpfully, we can go here into the backtest tab, and we can see that we're having 100% history quality data from the 8-cap broker. And quite interestingly enough, 10 grand became 12 grand in a year, which is 12 grand additional profit, so 10 to 22, pardon my mistake. So this is not an unrealistic backtest result. Like the actual increase in equity would be what we would expect from a good expert advisor, so no red flags there. And also really interesting, we can come here to the profit trades. It's around 66% profitability, so you're still losing a fair amount, but with a very positive risk reward. So your average profit trade here is around $91 to your average loss trade of around $60. So because of that, we're seeing a positive risk reward of around 1.5 with a 66% win rate, that's really good. So this doesn't appear like, it appears so far to be just an exceptionally good trading strategy. My natural skeptic is like, okay, is there a degree of over-optimization? But it could very well just be that this is a phenomenal trading strategy. We're not seeing anything which looks blatantly fake, like the equity curve has losses, there are some drawdowns, there are some flat periods, all of which looks really good. And it does appear to be following, from what I can see here, a logical trading system. But it's also just exceptionally good. So it's always good to try and see if we can poke holes in it and approach it from more of a skeptical lens, but not seeing any massive red flags for now. The equity curve, the main thing for me, which is looking which is inciting my skepticism, is more how low the drawdowns are relative to the amount of profit we're making. So we're seeing a drawdown of around 3.6% over a profit of we're making 12 grand here. So the Sharpe ratio is like insane. And this would just be a phenomenal system if it was not in any way manipulated. So let's run a visual backtest now to get a better idea of how it works. Okay. And hopefully this loads relatively quickly. Let me slow it down a little bit. Okay, this is interesting. So to his point in the comments, it appears to be using a degree of a stop and reverse method of opening and exiting trades. So here it opens a trade, and then it closes it there, and then it re-enters immediately afterwards. So with some of these trades, it's doing a stop and reverse, and what that would mean is you enter a trade, and then you exit with the opposing trade. So you would go long, you would go short, and then you would go short, you would go long, and this enables you to pretty much always be in the market. But sometimes they don't actually use that method, they simply close the trade. But this is really interesting because not many expert advisors use the stop and reverse method. And stop and reverse, which is you open trade or you close trades by opening a new trade, it's maybe a good way of phrasing it, has been shown by some well-known expert advisor developers and traders to be one of the most effective ways to build very profitable systems. If any of you guys have heard of Kevin Davey, he has a popular YouTube channel and is a very well-known futures trader, algo trader. He speaks incredibly highly of this method. So this is how it appears to be running. So maybe to wrap up this video, so far by seeing this expert advisor, I can't see any blatant red flags. The equity curve looks phenomenal and it appears to be following a real strategy. So it's following a real strategy based on a mean reversion premise. So as you kind of get away from it, you go short, and then you kind of go, when you go a little bit lower relative to previous bars, you would go long. So it appears to be following a mean reversion premise using a stop and reverse entry and exit model. The equity curve looks fantastic. The statistics look fantastic. I can't see any blatant red flags. My one caution here would be I'm naturally skeptical when something looks almost too good to be true, so I would still approach it with a bit of caution. That being said, it could very well be just an exceptional system in general that is maybe slightly over-optimized, but it looks good to me. So invite you guys to test it out as well for yourselves, and let me know how it goes in the comments. I'd be really curious to see what your experiences with the expert advisor are. So thank you very much, and stick around for the next short clip where we will share a free expert advisor with you. Before you click away, if you're looking to get a real expert advisor, here at Prosperity Algo Solutions, we're currently offering our golden time bomb system based on automating the London breakout and opening range breakout 100% for free. Watch the pinned video to find out more and to get access.